It seems Marcus London has left the porn industry. But I do want to go ahead and touch on some adult entertainment industry news because I know a lot of you who do keep up with me are carryovers from my work when it comes to pornnewstoday.com. If you pop on over actually to pornnewstoday.com as of tonight, the latest headline is yet another male porn star rapist. TRPWL reports Kiara Edwards accuses Marcus London of rape. When I saw this, I was floored. The initial story is over on TRPWL.com. He is my enemy, but every once in a while, when Sean, aka TRPWL, posts an interesting story, I will talk about it. I will. But I wonder what's really going on with Marcus London, because it was just a little over a week ago that the rape allegations came out surrounding Ryan Madison of that porn fidelity duo. He's the husband of Kelly Madison. But now we got Marcus London. I thought he was the cream of the crop, professional of professional, and he still might be. These are just allegations taken from Kiara Edwards, who posted a very extensive alleged account of what happened between her and Marcus on her Twitter. Okay? But Marcus London, he's been connected to Tom Cruise. Supposedly he's supposed to be Tom Cruise's sex coach. I have a hard time believing that one. I really do. I have a hard time believing that Tom Cruise really, he needs a sex coach. What, they didn't have anyone in the Scientology department who could help him with that? Or is Marcus London a part of Scientology? Something to wonder about. I don't know. I just have a hard time believing some of these allegations about Marcus London. He does have a certain type of personality to where he does come across as mean. Okay? Professional, yes, but mean, yeah. And I think he has to be mean because he's very small, very short in stature. That's what I mean. A lot of people would be surprised actually to learn this about quite a few adult actors, adult film actors, porn stars. But they're very tiny. Oh my God, they're such tiny people. Look, when I was working in that world, I felt like Gulliver's Travels. I felt like this giant Amazon woman because all the men, for the most part, are so damn tiny. Marcus London, I think he's like 5'2", maybe 5'4", maybe. But he's really, really short. He's well built, he's proportionate, but he's just really, really tiny. He's like a teacup human. His BFF, who for a while, look, I'll be honest with you, for a long time I thought that Marcus London was in the closet because of his close friendship with another male porn actor known as Tommy Gunn, who also is a teacup human. He's really small. The girls, for the most part, like people don't understand that these actors are really tiny because they hire such teeny tiny women. A lot of the women who are the most popular women in the industry are super short. It's crazy. When you see a woman who appears like she's really tall, she's not that tall. It's just that everyone else is super tiny, but enough about that. Anyway, I'm just going to read what TRPWL wrote. He posted Kiara Edwards' account and he wrote, pretty detailed account. Marcus has always been a pompous piece of shit. Wow. Catty Sean Tompkins. And that's what makes me wonder about these allegations, because the allegations when it comes to Ryan Madison, the credibility of those allegations is way up in the air because the ringleader behind those allegations is known as the group which is linked to the sex trafficking gang, the Luxury Companion, Kelly Roberts. Okay? Kelly Roberts has enabled organized crime controlled sex trafficking for years, so there's no credibility that can be attached to Kelly Roberts or a mouthpiece for Kelly Roberts known as Alana Evans. When you look at the name Alana Evans and you look at the name Kelly Roberts, all you should think about is organized crime sex trafficking. Now, when it comes to Sean Tompkins, aka TRPWL, he's linked to some organized crime as well. And for years now, he has had an aversion to Marcus London. He does not like Marcus London. Why exactly? I don't know. But he doesn't like him. So he would definitely be out to get Marcus London. And if there's another woman who is out to get Marcus London for whatever reason, he would definitely support that. So I'm going to read a bit of these allegations from Kiara. The shoot, June 2nd, 2020. This is a shoot I should have never done. This broke me. This was the last thing I could take. I remember the shoot took place on a Tuesday. It was during Black Lives Matter, and the industry was outing so many abusers. I knew by the Sunday morning beforehand I wasn't okay. So already before we get into this, Kiara Edwards mentally isn't quite okay. She's upset about a lot of political issues going on. Black Lives Matter is affecting her. She's white, but it's affecting her. She appears to be from another country. I think that she's Australian. And that is another thing that makes me wonder about this. If she's not an American citizen and she's making these allegations, will they ever go into a court of law in the United States? Actually, as we continue, a lot of what she says reminds me greatly of some of the things that August Ames said. So I hope that Kiara Edwards doesn't end up like August Ames. But let's continue. I knew I shouldn't do the shoot, but I felt guilty because I knew Marcus was going to Europe and needed the money. I saw how stressed he was. I didn't want to let anyone down, so I thought if I sat there and explained what was going on in my head at that moment, maybe we could not put as much pressure on the shoot. Ugh, what kind of shoot was this? Why is there so much pressure on this shoot? Why is it so intense? This is crazy. I remember sitting at the kitchen table, asking Marcus to talk. I remember I was so dizzy I thought I might pass out. Sounds like Kiara might also have a medical problem. She might be hypoglycemic. Porn, Kiara, I don't think porn is for you. And porn, I don't think you are for Kiara. Let's not book her anymore, okay? I was so nervous, so exhausted. I don't know how much time passed that morning. It was all a bit of a blur. I remember explaining things to Marcus, some things I hadn't told a living soul before. I wanted him to see, understand that I was trying. I was giving every last bit of energy I had left. I told him about abuse in my childhood. I told him my flashbacks had started and I was getting PTSD from events from my past that were being triggered by things I saw happening in the world. He sat there silent. The thing that broke that silence was him turning around and telling me he didn't know how I hadn't killed myself already. Oh! If that's true, and I think it would be considering what Marcus London's personality is, he's just harsh. From what I've heard from various parties over the years, he is harsh, has zero filter, except for when there's money involved, because he is a hustler. Um, he probably did say that to her. He probably did, because in his mind, from his perspective, she would just be going on and on, prolonging his day, irritating and annoying him, because, it's all about Marcus London and his, reputation to uphold as being BFF to Tom Cruise, sex coach of the world. And he's just looking at this girl as basically an on-set prop to showcase himself. And he's having to endure hearing her talk. And he's thinking, oh, why can't she just be a sex doll? Why does she have to ramble on and on? Ugh. Why would she just end it all already? So yeah, he probably said that to her. But considering that she's disclosing that she's had abuse in her childhood, obvious trauma from that, she needs therapy, the adult entertainment industry is not right for Kiara. Not from my perspective. She's a grown woman. She can do whatever she wants. I have zero influence officially on the adult entertainment industry. But if I were a producer, I wouldn't hire this girl, because I would consider it to be further abuse upon her being as a human, her spirit. Oh, this is horrible, but let's continue. So he questions why she hadn't already killed herself. That's where we left off. At that time, I was close. Not to the point of today, but close enough. That night, a mutual girlfriend came over. With everything going on, the subject of pedophilia came up. I panicked. I felt my heart rate start to rise, my palms start to sweat. Marcus started going on about how he didn't understand how a woman could rape a child, and started asking for more details. So I guess that's what happened to her. I asked him to stop. I had to walk away before my reality slipped through my fingers. I didn't understand how someone that could tell me that morning they don't know how I hadn't killed myself already could forget so quickly. I had to escape, so I walked away. I couldn't deal with what was being said. I wonder if she lives with him. Kind of sounds like she does, or there's some sort of an arrangement where she's staying with him or something. Strange. But I do want to note, she's a very good writer. Maybe she should become a novelist of some sort. Very descriptive. On the Tuesday morning, the morning of the shoot, I wasn't okay. I should not have shot that day. I remember getting ready, looking at the mirror, and telling myself not to cry. Walking out, I explained to Marcus I was struggling and just wanted to try to get it done, but couldn't make a promise that I could. I wanted to please him. Why? I didn't want to let him down. We took it very slow, taking breaks during pretty girls and stills. We were well over halfway through the sex scene, and we took a break. I can't remember who mentioned it, but what I do remember is Marcus sitting there defending a very well-known rapist in the industry. I asked him to stop. He kept going. Well, who was the well-known rapist in the industry that he was defending? Because there's so many of them. I'm not laughing at the crime of rape. I'm laughing at the fact that there's so many allegations that are going around. I mean, who are we talking about? Are we talking about Ron Jeremy? Rape allegations against him. Are we talking about Ryan Madison? Rape allegations against him. Who else? There's so many. At one point, Tasha Rain was saying that Mr. Marcus assaulted her, and all he did was reach out to try to get her attention at a media event. For all I know, Kiara could believe Tasha Rain. Black Lives Matter. Okay, let's continue. So she asked him to stop talking about the rapist, who apparently he doesn't think is a rapist. And ironically, now he's being accused of being a rapist. Okay. I begged him to stop because I didn't want to fight. I couldn't handle it. and he snapped back, telling me we weren't fighting and I needed to grow up and be able to have a heated discussion with people. Let's pause. I do want to see how old this young woman is. Kiara Edwards. Let's look her up. Because Marcus London, he's pretty old now. He's got to be, he's got to be at least 50. I don't know. I'm going to look him up too. Yeah, she's Australian. She's 26. She's a Gemini. All right, now let's look at Marcus London. Let's see how old this cat is. Because that's another thing to keep in mind. You got a lot of really young women in that world dealing with a bunch of really old dudes, okay? Ooh, he's 52. So she's half his age. He's 52. She's 26. He shouldn't be around that young girl. He's claiming to be 5'7" on IAFD. Dude, I don't think you are. I think you're about 5'4" max. So she didn't want to hear about him defending one of his many peers who also has been accused of rape. She was really upset. She's having flashbacks, PTSD is manifesting within her. She doesn't even want to do the scene. They should have stopped the scene at that point, but no, they didn't. When we started having sex, the flashbacks came back quick. I forgot where I was. All I could see was myself being held down, attacked when I was younger, being raped. I called cut and turned around. Tears filling my eyes, trying not to break down or start sobbing. I said I needed to stop. I asked us to cut to the pop shot so the scene wasn't a waste. I said I couldn't keep going. I was in doggy. Marcus looked at me and I felt like I could see my pain in his eyes. I thought he understood the pain I was in at that moment. He said okay, that he understood. When he started to F me again, after I had asked him to stop, I froze up. Ooh! So she verbally requested that they stop the scene. She claims that she verbally said cut, but they kept going? No. If that is true, it sounds like on-set assault to me. There is serious legal liability there. Now, the fact that neither of these individuals are American, to my knowledge, I don't think Marcus London is American. Maybe he has a green card, I don't know. So I don't know how that would go. I wonder what studio this was for. But an attorney would probably jump on this. Who would be a good attorney for her? Let me think. I guess it's time to call Alan Gelbart again. All right. When he started to F me again, after I asked him to stop, I froze up. I panicked. I started saying stop again and that I couldn't keep going, and he started whispering, shh, it's okay. That's when my body went limp. I couldn't move. I couldn't fight. I said, no, stop. I did everything I was told to do, but it was ignored. Suddenly, I couldn't remember how to breathe. My body automatically just blinked to the point I couldn't push back. I couldn't stop it. That's when the cameras went back on. Oh no. I don't know how long he effed me for while trying to soothe me. Time didn't exist in that moment. When the scene finished, I locked myself in the shower in the hottest water I could handle. A noise escaped my body I didn't know I could make. I collapsed, sobbing, howling in the shower, trying to pull myself together, trying to get the energy to sit up, the energy to move my body. I had nothing left at that moment. When I finally pulled myself together, enough that I regained the strength and power to move my body, I went into survival mode. I knew I wasn't okay. It was sunset. So I grabbed some weed and went outside and sat there smoking, listening to my safety playlist. And if you want to read the rest of that for yourself, pop on over to TRPWL.com. If that's true, then yeah, by legal definition, I would say that Marcus London is a rapist. If that's true. It seems that Marcus London probably needs to go ahead and retire at this phase if those allegations are correct and truthful. An attorney definitely needs to get involved. I would highly recommend that Kiara Edwards not be a performer anymore, because considering her background, if she's been abused as a child, if she's not okay, considering that this horrific event just allegedly happened to her, get a regular job. There's other jobs for you, Kiara. The adult entertainment industry is not the end all. It amazes me sometimes. It's like there are other jobs. Your shelf life in that world is so limited to begin with. Become a real estate agent.